Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, and Jackson Heights, Queens. Now, as you all know, that as of yesterday, Governor Kathy Hochul has announced that the MTA has completed its internal environmental review of the soon to be projected Interborough Express, and the MTA gave it a thumbs up and says that the former tracks of the Long Island Railroad Bay Ridge branch can be used for the Interborough Express. So now, without further ado, let's get right into this commentary, shall we? And before I move on, just look at the picture. Look at the beautiful picture. Look at the beautiful picture of the Freedom Tower, just a far from a view. So lovely, isn't it? Mm. The introduction. All right, we all know that it is a 40-mile rail corridor that runs through Brooklyn, Queens, largely out of public sites. These tracks were last provided on passenger rail service in 1924. Today, the corridor is one of the few remaining freight line rail links in New York City. Now, this is the same freight car line that will be used for the Brooklyn Queens Interborough Express, now known as the IBX. Okay, it will be serving some of Brooklyn Queens' most dense populated neighborhoods via this new transit link. The MTA initiated a study to identify a feasible of and options with building such a transit link. By utilizing existing right-of-way, the MTA could eliminate some of the costs and community disruptions associated with the new transit surface infrastructure. New York City has long contended with limited rapid transit links between the outer boroughs. A new rapid transit line along this corridor will connect the 17 subway services and provide another rapid transit link between Queens and Brooklyn without going into Manhattan. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. So, the G train might have a little bit of competition on its hands. No, I'm just kidding. Like I said before, this will be operated along the old Long Island Railroad Bay Ridge branch. All right, and it'll be serving the most dense populated neighborhoods of both Brooklyn and Queens. And now, as you notice, this map was integrated from the original Triboro RX, which was supposed to serve Brooklyn, Queens, and the Bronx. All right, I mentioned all of that in my podcast episode when I was talking about the launch of the environmental review of the Interborough Express. If you guys have not listened to the podcast episode, I will have a link to that podcast episode in the description box down below. All right. Now, the Hell Gate Line between Queens and the Bronx, is used by Amtrak freight and future MTA MetroNorth Penn Station access trains that will connect the Bronx to Manhattan, Westchester, and beyond. Given the anticipated frequent level of service of the Interborough Express, design left space along the existing Hell Gate Line for additional tracks to accommodate the IBX with the rail traffic levels of other service. Oh, you see that? We hit the nail on the head. From what I just read to you guys just now, right? The reason why the Bronx was nixed from the Interborough Express is because in order for this line to operate to and from the Bronx and be a Triboro RX, okay, it has to run on the Hell Gate Line, which connects Queens and the Bronx. All right, that is where the future MetroNorth Railroad Hell Gate Line to Penn Station access is going to run on. So it's not going to be enough room for the light rail. So this is why the plan was cut short all the way back down to Jackson Heights, Queens. Alright, here's the study background, okay? The IBX is guided by 6 key needs. 1. Improve transit connections to community job centers. 2. Cost effective meets the needs of transit and freight rail systems within the dedicated right of way. 3. Support economic growth in local communities. 4. Reserve freight for corridor and current future needs. 5. Reduce roadway traffic by increasing the number of residents riding transit. And 6. Connect to and between subway lines for better travel options. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. So, reduce roadway by increasing the number of residents through riding transit. We all know that New York City is more of a metropolis city than a city where people own cars, right? Remember, ladies and gentlemen, not everyone in New York City owns a car. They will have to rely on mass transit to get from point A to point B. Okay, so having another viable option link for transportation station, it's not really a bad idea for the residents in neighborhoods of South Brooklyn and Queens, where the Interborough Express is slated to serve. Okay, with this plan, you'll have more people moving into the city. You'll get more jobs pouring into the city, and also support an economic growth. Okay, we'll be pouring money back into our city with this projected Interborough RX, with this IBX. Sorry. Okay, I already talked about the corridor background. All right. This was the former Long Island Railroad Bay Ridge branch. All right. Soon it was later taken over by the New York and Atlantic Railways. Port Authority took operations of the car float ferrying trains from Bay Ridge branch to New Jersey. And in 2017, the fourth regional plan envisions the Bay Ridge branch as part of its flagship Triboro RX subway line. And in 2020, the MTA initiates this feasible study. Okay, here's the thing, right? In the previous slide I talked about, right? The Hell Gate Line, the Hell Gate Bridge, right, which connects Queens to the Bronx, right, will be used for the future MetroNorth Penn Station access, aka the Hell Gate Line. Okay. Now, the Triboro RX was now okay. Sorry, my throat's hurting me. Now, the Triboro RX plan was already initiated before the MetroNorth's Penn Station access plan was initiated. Okay. If you guys take a look back at the commentary video that I did for the 2020-2024 MTA Capital Plan program back in 2020, you would see that the Hell Gate Bridge will be used for future MetroNorth Railroad service between Penn Station and it'll operate through Queens and stop in Hunts Point, Parkchester, Morris Park, and Co-op City, also known as the Hell Gate Line. Now, in order for MetroNorth access to Penn Station to be a reality, the Triboro RX had to be sacrificed, and the Bronx section of that projected line, of that proposed line, would be nixed. And that's how the shorter version that we see now was created. Instead of operating through Brooklyn, Queens, and the Bronx, it'll be operating through Brooklyn and Queens only. All right. We all know the IBX will serve 7 to 10 people of color, 3 and 10 households below 150% of the poverty line, 1 in 4 residents in limited English fluency, and 1 and 2 zero-car households. All right, jobs and population. All right. So as you can see, both the population and the jobs increase increase by a little bit over 20%. A 20% increase in population and jobs in both 2020 and projected in 2020 and 2045. All right. Here is the study area for IBX commuters. 34,000 people from Queens to Manhattan, 51,000 people from Brooklyn to Manhattan, 86,000 throughout Brooklyn, 27,000 throughout Queens, and 10% from 10,000 people from Brooklyn to Queens, and 6,000 people from Queens to Brooklyn. What about on alternatives? What about our alternatives? Good question. Now, as we can see, we have 6 alternatives. All right. Can it be a conventional rail line? No. This cannot be a conventional rail line. How about a diesel multiple unit? We'll think about that. A heavy rail? No. Automatic guideway transit? Maybe. How about light rail transit? LRT? Maybe. How about bus rapid transit? No. And here's the thing, right? It cannot be a bus rapid transit because we are in the process of implementing Omni. If you guys don't know what Omni is One Metro New York, and it will allow everyone to board the buses through any door, and you just tap with your smartphone, watch, or Omni card, or credit card, debit card, whatever card that you're going to use to pay your fare with. Tap your machine and enter the bus through any door. Okay, all door boarding for buses will be implemented in 2023, which will phase out and cancel select bus service, which also means no more fare paying, no more off-board fare paying. Now, my best bet is between B, 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 D, or E. All right. Along B and D, they will require dedicated tracks to make the Interborough Express a reality. But at the same time, you have the light rail transit, which should be in their own right of way on the streets. But here's the thing, though. You're planning to use the rails, not the streets. So that means the LRT is out of the question. So it'll either be a diesel multiple unit or an automated guideway transit. This takes me back to when I visited Toronto back in 2018. I remember this one line 3, which operated between Kennedy and Scarborough, which also known as Line 3's Scarborough line, and it was a diesel, and the fleet for Line 3 was used and operated by diesel multiple units. Okay? Okay, and Line 3 only had like what, 5 or 6 stops, and it operates pretty well. It's not a heavy automated it's not a heavy automated heavy rail line, just like what lines 1, 2, and 4 in Toronto. Line 3 is something different. Line 3 was a was more of a diesel multiple unit. Well, anyways, let's get back to the point. The point of the matter is your best bet is for the IBX to be operated with for either diesel multiple units or with automated guideway transit. Okay, we all know that in order to make this happen, you'd have to rebuild the freight tracks. We rebuild the freight tracks and install new signals. Okay, we talked about this already. And this. Okay. I will have to stop right here because because if you're going to have new rails, you're going to need a train barn or some type of a train yard. Okay? Potential maintenance and storage unit yards. They got three choices. They got either the 65th Street yard, the Brooklyn Army Terminal, or the Jackie Gleason Depot, existing bus facility, BRT only. Well, we already said that that the IBX will not be operated by a bus line, so that's a big fat no. So their best bet is either gonna be for storage and maintenance, is either gonna be the 65th Street yard or the Brooklyn Army Terminal. And as you can see, in certain segments of the LRT and BRT alternatives, the lines can run on elevated guideways above the freight line, or they could run side by side, or they could run on lines with existing parallel streets. A different kind of conventional rails. All right. Ooh, look at the inside of this train car right here. That'll be perfect for the IBX. Not gonna lie. And as you can see for the artwork, it's rail alternative at a possible Roosevelt Avenue station in Queens. Here, the IBX will run alongside freight tracks below street level. Any station without a short walk from existing Roosevelt Avenue Jackson Heights station. And it looks like this one is apparently adjacent or next to the Brooklyn Queens Expressway. Potential yard and shop locations: the 65th Street yard or the Brooklyn Army Terminal. This is what the Roosevelt Avenue IBX station could look like. One side you got exit only, and the other side you got entrance. Concept rail artwork showing platform level of the conventional rail alternative at a possible Roosevelt Avenue station in Queens. Okay, we already talked about the light rail alternative already. This is what the Wilson Avenue station could look like in Brooklyn for a possible Wilson Avenue light rail station alongside with the existing L train station. Alright, here's one with Ocean Avenue. It'll be below street level. It'll be below street level. It will operate on a viaduct above the freight tracks cross intersection at the street grade. Or they could use Jackie Gleason Depot if it were to go for the bus rapid transit route, but that's not happening. So once again, your best bet is to either build a yard and shop for the 65th Street Yard or the Brooklyn Army Terminal. What are the project benefits? Conventional rail or light rail? Your best bet, honestly, is to go with a light rail. Go with a light rail. Because I promise you, you'll get more ridership if you do a light rail because this is not meant to be a subway line. This is meant to be a light rail. And look at this. Look at this. Estimated daily ridership, light rail, 88,000 people. Okay. Possible stations with high ridership. Stations that have the highest weekday riderships. Utica Avenue, 10,000 to 11,000. Roosevelt Avenue, 8,000 to 10,000. East 16th Street, 5,000 to 6,000. Flatbush Avenue, 5,000. All of these stations will be busy transit hubs, allowing IBX riders to connect to the subways, bus, and the Long Island Railroad. So, if you guys live on any of these streets that I just mentioned, and if you're not planning to get a car in the future, maybe you're planning to get a car in the future, who knows? This projected light rail will be your best alternative to get around Brooklyn, Queens, and to connect with the subway trains to and from Manhattan. End-to-end run times. With conventional rail being 45 minutes, BRT being 41 minutes, but with light rail, it'll be just 30 minutes overall, 39 minutes overall from end to end. So our best bet is to build a light rail line for the IBX. Okay, so the IBX will be part of all these projects right here. It'll be part of the East New York Neighborhood Plan, the Vital Brooklyn Initiative, the Sunset Park Vision Plan, Brooklyn College's Facilities Master Plan, and Bushwick's Neighboring Plan. You know what all these projects and planning have in common? They have one goal and purpose, is to connect riders to all of these major major points of interest. Okay, you got the East New York Industrial Business Zone. You got facilities and healthcare all around Brooklyn. You got Sunset Park. You got Brooklyn College. Duh, by the way. And also, you got multiple businesses and shopping centers all around Bushwick. It's a win-win. So, our best bet is to go with the light rail plan. Okay? The MTA will be in conjunction collaboration with the New York City and its planning and development agencies to proactively consider such economic and development, healthcare, and housing opportunities in parallel with our transportation planning. Okay? So, we have the proposed projects, the prioritization process, and the list of funding priorities. Okay, these are all the photo credits, acknowledgements, blah blah blah, page left intentionally blank, and that is our report right there. My overall thoughts and views, like, this is a lovely plan that our esteemed governor Kathleen Hochul came up with. She took the idea from the original Triboro RX, which was proposed by Governor Andrew Cuomo, but never got reviewed nor proved. She took that and she phased out the Bronx entirely due to the fact that it would have to run on the Hell Gate Line, which will be side by side by projected MetroNorth Railroad trains for the Hell Gate Line, for MetroNorth Railroad trains coming in and out of Penn Station. Okay? Light rails cannot run side by side with electric multiple units. So that is why the Bronx was cut out from the service planning. Alright? The Bronx was cut out from the service planning, and the stations that it'll be that the Interborough RX, that the Interborough Express, by the way, I'm sorry, will be operating in Brooklyn, Queens. It'll be operating to Sunset Park, Midwood, East New York, and then to Maspeth, Middle Village, and Jackson Heights in Queens. And if we go with the light rail plan, planning, it will be a whopping 39 minutes. It will be a 39 minutes travel between Sunset Park, Brooklyn, and Jackson Heights, Queens. Alright? So that is the planning of the Interborough Express. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this video, make sure that you subscribe to the Transportation Hub YouTube channel for more hot and lit content. I am Ann Miller with the Transportation Hub. I will see all of you at the next stop. But before we end this video, here is a word from our sponsors.